Update. I'm full of regrets believing that my husband cheated on me when he didn't. Original post. Cheating is something that I have always had strong opinions about. I've been cheated on before and it sucked. Everyone knows that I don't forgive cheaters. So when my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, staged an elaborate scheme about my husband cheating, I ended the relationship. My relationship, unfortunately, wasn't the only one that was affected. My sister-in-law, Lisa, 32, her best friend, Emma, 32, and my husband, Jamie, 29, were best friends growing up. Emma got married early when she was 20. Her husband was abusive. She has 2 children with him. She got divorced 10 years later, and she was finally free from his abuse. She suffered a lot, however, and was probably still is in therapy, her and her children. I, 30, met Jamie 4 years ago. We got married 2 years later. Everything was just awesome. What I didn't know was that Emma wanted Jamie, and Lisa made it her mission, when Emma finally got divorced, to bring her brother and best friend together. I didn't know any of this, so I never knew that there was a hidden agenda. When I was a few months into my marriage, overheard Lisa talking about how Jamie was cheating on with a married colleague of his. In hindsight, I can tell it was staged because she was saying unnecessary details and was very loud. She meant for me to hear it. I confronted her then and there, and she played very flustered and apologized and begged me not to ruin my marriage. She told me Jamie loved me and she would never want to lose me as a sister. But at the same time, she provided me with the pictures and texts that they were all photoshopped of my husband and his colleague. She begged me not to mention where I found out, and I was grateful for her support and promised her not to expose her as the source. I confronted my husband with everything, and he adamantly refused to admit to anything. It hurt me more that he never admitted nor apologized, ever. He asked me where I got this from, and I kept my promise and told him it was an anonymous tip. I also went as far that I contacted the colleague's husband. At the time, I thought it was the right thing to do. The colleague is this very beautiful woman that my husband worked very closely with many hours a day. I was a bit jealous of that, and I confided my fears with Lisa. She used it against me. I asked for a divorce, and the colleague's husband did too. After that, Lisa, who I thought was my friend, who called me her sister, disappeared from my life, like I never existed. Even when I bumped into her, she was short with me and indifferent. Months went by and I was still heartbroken, processing the separation. My husband stopped trying to make me see reason and agreed to divorce. He said he wanted to move on. I started having doubts. Why is Lisa doing this now? She was my friend and wanted the best for me, yet now she didn't even answer my texts. I followed both her and Emma on Insta, and I started seeing how Emma and my husband gradually started hanging out. At least once a week, Emma or Lisa shared stories about my husband with Emma and her children. What I did next is very questionable, and yet I don't regret it at all. I was desperate and I needed the truth. I was still very good friends with Lisa's on-again, off-again boyfriend's Mike's sister. I told her my doubts and everything. I told her that Lisa was my source, that my husband was cheating, and that I'm starting to doubt everything and that I needed their help to unearth the truth. Mike was easier to persuade to help me than I expected. He had Lisa's passcodes and he went through her messages with Emma, and there was everything. They have plotted everything. They used my idiocy and insecurity and made me throw the best thing that had ever happened to me. He sent me all the proof that I needed. Even the original photos they used to Photoshop my husband with his colleague. My world was turned upside down again, and I went down a deeper depression. I stayed in bed, called in sick for 2 weeks. I have not only ruined my life, but also another family. I don't know why I'm writing here, if I want advice or just vent. I don't blame anyone but my stupidity for ruining my marriage. I should have just trusted my husband and the love that he's shown me. I should have been honest with him about everything and where I got the news that he was cheating from. I should have not gone to hurt the colleague and her family just because I thought she was beautiful. She has since quit her job and moved, but I still had her husband's contact information. I had to at least apologize. We met and I told him everything. He was so angry with me. He was crying and yelling at me, and all I could think was that I deserved every insult he threw my way. I found the colleague on Instagram and DM'd her everything and a long apology. She didn't answer me. I don't know if I should tell my husband too. I know I don't deserve him at all, and I know that he doesn't want me anymore, but maybe he just should know that what Emma is doing and what she's capable of doing. He deserves to know the truth. Maybe I could start with reassuring him that I'm not trying to win him back. I'm just trying to help him understand and apologize. I need to apologize for everything. I don't know. And now for the top of comments before reading the update. I would 100% tell him, how can his own sister do something so screwed up? He needs to know. He totally deserves to know, even if OP and her husband can't work it out. Agreed. Please, please tell him. Find any way that you can, but if you can, see if you can find a way to contact him without Lisa and Emma knowing. If they suspect you're about to blow the whistle, they may try and spin their own story first. Document everything and find a way to show it to him. I hope things get better and that Lisa and Emma face the consequences. This, maybe if Mike is willing, could go with you or even go talk to him on his own and show him the proof. I really hope you and your husband can talk and work it out. It was so wrong of his sister to manipulate and gaslight you. I'm truly sorry that this happened to you. I don't see why the husband wouldn't take her back. Her reaction to supposed cheating was very normal, and she had every reason to believe that the cheating was real. The sister-in-law is the one who screwed up everyone's life, and OP is not at fault at all. She just dealt with the information that she was receiving, not knowing it was false. Now for the update. Update. Hi, I now have an update. Thank you for being so supportive. I honestly didn't expect that given how long and boring my story was. I remember being so desperate and wanted to tell everything from the beginning and to put it out there. Maybe to try and make excuses for myself for what I did. I appreciate that you wanted to help. I decided not to meet up with Jamie. Every time I tried to text him and ask for a meeting, I panicked. That wasn't a good sign at all. I wanted him to know everything in details, and I tend to be all over the place when I'm panicking, so I decided to email him instead. I made a lot of drafts, cross-checked all the information, and waited a whole day before sending, adding some details here and there that I've forgotten to include. I sent him all the manipulated pictures and the original. Every screenshot Mike sent me from Lisa and Emma's conversations. I made it clear, however, that I wasn't trying to manipulate him to have me back, because I knew that what I did was unforgivable, but that I wanted to warn him about who he's dealing with. I told him that I've been watching Emma and Lisa's Instagram, and I've seen that he was getting cozier with Emma. I wanted him to know all the facts if he was dating her. This took all my energy to write. Just the thought of him dating Emma, I can't. I texted him that I've sent him an important email. He didn't answer me. On Wednesday, when I came back from work, Lisa, Emma, and Emma's 2 children were waiting for me outside of my building. When I let them in, stupid me, Lisa started yelling and threatening me. She told me to call and tell Jamie and Mike that I made it all up because I'm a pathetic loser. She told me I didn't want her as an enemy because she would make my life sour, believe me. You don't want me to make destroying your already miserable life my mission. Emma just smiled the whole time. She later said that my husband always had a crush on her and that he wouldn't believe my nonsense because he could finally be with her. The thing is, it felt like Lisa was more angry that Mike knew what she did rather than her brother, and she really was annoyed about Emma and told her to shut up all the time. I couldn't get them out of my apartment, so I just left and called Jamie. I told him that they were at my place and that I couldn't get them out. 15 minutes later, I saw them leave. Jamie texted then that he wanted to come over if I was all right with it. Yes. He told me that he was very hurt that I would doubt him like this and believe the rumors. I told him everything again without panicking. I told him that I loved and trusted Lisa. She was like my sister, and I asked him to put himself in my shoes, and if he happened to hear Lisa talk about me being unfaithful, would he have any doubts in his loving sister's intentions? He stayed the night and left the next morning. We have been texting several times a day and talking on the phone and FaceTime every night since. He says that he loves me, but that he doesn't know what to do. He is very hurt. By his sister and Emma, of course, but even by me. He hasn't talked about canceling the divorce process yet. I will just have to wait, and that's understandable. I've turned his life upside down twice in such a short period of time. On a happier note, my husband's colleague and her husband are back together. My husband met with them and apologized. I've already told them everything, but my husband felt the need to apologize personally. Mike has ended it with Lisa. Lisa and Emma's relationship is very strained. Both have blocked me from Instagram, of course, but apparently Lisa is blaming Emma for Mike leaving her, and Emma has tried to throw Lisa under the bus by telling Jamie she was innocent in all of this. I really hope my husband forgives me, and I promise that I will make it up to him and love him forever. Story 2. My husband wants me to be a mother to his affair child, plus update. Original post. I, 29 female, and my husband, 44 male, have been together for 5 years and married for 2. I met him at the church I started going to when I moved cities to start my new career. I work for an insurance company and he's a pastor. I know that we have a notable age gap, but he was always kind to me and made me feel special. Anyhow, a week ago he came home and told me we needed to talk. He told me through tears that he has been having an affair with one of our community members, 34 female, and that she had been pregnant with twins. She had gone into labor, and she and one of the twins died, and the other is in ICU. He said that we need to step up and that he wants me to turn in my office into a nursery and set up a cot in the room so that we can take turns. I became distressed and told him I wanted some time to think, that I was not sure I wanted to do this. He told me that I had made a vow to him in marriage and that God has blessed us with a child, that this is our cross to bear and that God will never give us something we cannot handle. I told him that it seemed God had given her more than she could handle because she had died. I know that I should not have, but I was not thinking correctly. He slapped me and told me that I needed to serve my husband, that God had chosen me as this child's mother and I needed to be his humble servant. I just feel so strange. Yesterday I cried so hard I threw up. This woman died, yet I feel bad for myself. I feel so ugly. I wanted children and was saving for an in vitro fertilization because I'm infertile. But now that I have a chance to have a child and I do not want it, I feel like I'd be robbing its mother's grave. I pray to God, but if I'm being honest, it's never felt like anyone has ever been listening. I feel like I have truly seen my husband and he no longer looks kind. He looks his age and very tired. I want to abandon him and the child. I'm only 29, I can start all over. I have a remote job, I can take a day off when he goes into the NICU, pack my essentials and leave. Neither him nor the child deserve this, and although this is my circus, that is not my monkey. Edit and more information on the affair. He said that she had come to his office several times to seek spiritual counseling, and the affair just happened after many emotional sessions. The assistant pastor is aware of things according to my husband's version of the events and has called me twice this week to offer help converting my office into a nursery. He said that forgiveness is a virtue, and this is part of God's plan. Don't let him use God to manipulate you. He doesn't care about you. That's just it, though. Looking past the situation itself, he doesn't care about me and only pretended to. I finally found someone who put me first, and it was a lie. I feel like such a gullible idiot. A 39-year-old man was interested in a 24-year-old woman because they had the same interests? Really? I feel so stupid for not seeing it when I could so clearly see it now. Now for the updates. Update 1. I just want to say thank you all for the support. I'm still processing this all, and I just need a little bit of time. I don't feel unsafe, just unloved. Just not enough. My husband did apologize for slapping me and continues to express regret, but he can't take it back. Just as he cannot take back impregnating another woman, which ultimately killed her. I'm just feeling so delusioned with my whole life right now. I know I should leave. I know that there is a world out there that will not treat me like this, but I am scared of change. I am working on a plan to leave and getting my ducks in a row for when I'm ready to go, but I'm not sure when I would leave if I choose to. Many express that I should make a report to the police about him slapping me, and they're probably right, but that would likely cause me more problems than it would be worth. If I leave, it might make him want to contest the divorce more, and if I stay, it would cause more tension. I've been working on my left hook though, because I won't let him get away with it again. I'm not violent myself, but I'm down for a tussle, because although I'm hurt, I'm angry. I'm not sure if there will be an update because I'm still unsure. I can make all the plans in the world, but the change scares me almost as much as bending to his will. I've been praying about it, but I see no clear answers or guidance. I don't know. Funny thing is, I'm jealous of the people saying that this is fake. It's like I want my life to be like it was 2 weeks ago. I could read a crazy story on the internet and think, wow, that's crazy, seems kind of fake, and keep scrolling and go about my life. Only I can't scroll away in real life because that's just how life works. I don't owe anyone proof of my life tragedies, least of all strangers on the internet whom I will never meet. I do thank all who have given support. I wish I could tell you that I packed my bags and left his sorry ass, but I'm not strong enough to yet. It's not that easy to do in real life, as it turns out. Odd. Update 2. I left. If that's all you wanted to know, there it is. For those of you asking how the other woman died, I get it. I invited you into my business. It was an amniotic fluid embolism. I don't know much about those, but I guess when they happen, things can go wrong really, really fast. We live in a more rural area, so they just weren't ready for something like that to happen. I didn't leave right away, as I know now that I should have. It just wasn't that easy. I stayed for 2 months. I knew if I did not at least try to make it work, I would not be able to live with it. Not because I wanted to save my marriage, but because what ifs keep me up at night enough as it is. I went to marriage counseling with my husband, but it was ultimately fruitless. Of course, it was a Christian counseling. I felt like their goal was for me to forgive him rather than actually trying to help me. I was so utterly alone during that time. My parents and brother are also very religious, so even though they weren't happy with my husband, they kept urging me to do what a good Christian wife would do. I spent so much time suffering in my own head that I began to realize that I was just going through the motions, doing what I thought people expected of me. I entered a state of derealization for a time, and that was an absolute mind F. The feeling of nothing being real, not even myself, was horrible. During this period, my husband brought his baby home, and while he tried to split the care 50-50 at first, he ultimately didn't trust me to look after the baby because I was lost in space. So he ended up being the primary provider. When I was with the baby, all I could think about was how its existence ruined my life. It'd look at me with big blue eyes, and I would just wish it would disappear. I would actively spend time resenting the baby. There was a time when I was thinking to myself and I wished it would stop breathing. That was when I knew that I needed to leave. I was blaming a baby and wishing ill upon it, and that was not okay to do. I don't remember much about this time besides that. It's mostly a blur otherwise. I thought services through my work to talk to a therapist, and I eventually came back to Earth. She helped me make a plan. At no point did I fear my husband. I truly believe that the slap was a one-off event. However, screw him. He doesn't deserve closure. On a night he had a long Bible study. He always took his baby with him because he didn't trust me. I packed my essentials and dipped. I met him pretty quickly after college, so I did not have much to take as far as furnishings. I fit everything I wanted in 3 suitcases and 4 moving boxes. It all fit into my SUV after some mediocre Tetris skills. I was able to change my phone number online before I left, but I did leave the divorce papers under my pillow with my lawyer's contact information. Kind of like the Tooth Fairy, but for adult a-holes. I was the breadwinner. In my state, we were not married long enough for me to pay spousal maintenance. At least that is what my lawyer said. I own my vehicle outright. We had our own bank accounts and shared expenses account. We filed taxes separately, and the church owns the house. He's being an ass about it all, but I'm hoping it should be done soon. I got a decent apartment in a city a few hundred miles away. I've never lived in a city this big before. Everything is so expensive, but besides that, I like it. I found a new therapist, met some new friends, and found a new church with loving people. I still have my days, but for the most part, I'm content. I think it will always hurt on some level, but I'm working on taking my power back. I turn 30 next month, and I'm hopeful it will be the start of my best decade yet. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother-in-law that if he wants to charge us for a family trip, he should pay us back for every cent we gave him? My husband and I are quite well off and child-free by choice. Neither of us was born into a particularly wealthy family, but we both prioritize learning to manage our finances and have invested a lot of effort into our careers. My husband's brother, I'll call him Sam, ended up in a tight situation 5 years ago. He had an alcohol problem to begin with, and then his girlfriend accidentally got pregnant, and they had twins to deal with. They were barely managing to afford the rent on a one-bedroom with a roommate, plus student loan debt. My husband wanted to help his brother because his parents couldn't really afford to, and I was okay with it because we did have the money to spare, and I really did feel for them. We supported them for almost a year. They lived with us, and once Sam recovered from his addiction and they had moved out, we still gave them significant financial help. Over the last few years, they've been doing better and better. They have paid off most of their debt and own a small home. A few weeks ago, they invited us on vacation with them. I was happy to see the twins after so long, and my husband was happy to spend some time with his brother. It was a week-long stay at a nice resort, and I was surprised and pleased that they'd gone from no cash at all to being able to afford a holiday for 6 people. 2 days after we got home, Sam sent me a message saying that we should pay $1,500 for our share of the trip. I was shocked because they didn't say anything about us paying when they invited us. It also seemed strange that they'd split the cost, including both of our airfares, when my husband and I lived much closer to the destination and had a much lower airfare cost than Sam's family did. I wrote back saying that we would not be paying because we thought they were inviting us as a family and not as paying guests. I said that they should have mentioned us paying our share before the trip if they wanted to. He wrote back quite angrily and said family is all very well, but family doesn't mean that you can take advantage of someone's kindness. This rubbed me the wrong way, so I went through some of our old financial records and sent him an estimate of how much we'd spent on his family over the years. I said, if you don't want to take advantage of anyone's kindness, then please start paying us back for all of this, and we'll pay for the vacation. He didn't respond, but apparently called and yelled at my husband over the whole thing. My husband thinks that I was needlessly petty and that it was cruel for me to rub it in their faces that they needed help from us a long time ago. He says that we should just pay and forget about it because it's selfish of me to expect them to feel like they owe us for something we did of our own free will, and it's true that I would be less annoyed about them asking us to pay, if not for how much we helped them in the past. Am I the a-hole for holding this over their head? That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.